Okay. I don't believe in game the way the dating coaches teach it. There's no one universal definition of it that can clearly define what it is, who has it, and who don't. Now, we can see swagger and we can see confidence. We can see all of that. Okay, yeah, I see that. I see he doesn't have it. I see he does have it. Is that game? They'll tell you no. Well, that ain't it. Well, if you don't know and you got to ask, well, you know. So it's too broad to be able to define. If it's too broad to be able to define, how do you know when I don't have it? How do you know when I don't have it? Right? Because guys will tell me, oh, CGA, well, you just don't have game. Okay, wait, what is it? What is it? Okay, you can see I don't have it. Can you tell me what I don't have? I'll wait. And they won't be able to do it. This is the conversation I'm trying to have with them. And what you will find is they'll tuck their tail and be like, well, it's the mouthpiece. It's the, yeah. All right, I talk for a living, certainly have mouthpiece. All right, so that's not a problem. All right, so let's go to this guy right here, Alexander Grace. He says, we are done. Let's go ahead and hear his video out.
No good females out there to date. These are
Fair
all
use.
trash options. What do I do? I was talking to my boyfriend the other day and he was telling me that he had such a hard time finding a girlfriend before he met me, and this is why. Tell me if you agree. So he would walk up to a lot of different females. That's basically what he did to me. That's how he found me, okay? And when he walked up to these females, he would say, hi, just like that, and want to start a conversation. He said so many people would just look him in the eyes and either just walk away, like straight up, look at him and just leave, or they would give him like the biggest resting bitch face and then be such a bitch to him that it's like, why would you even want to have a conversation? It's like you're talking to a wall or someone that like wants to stab you in the face.
Yep. And men are sick of it. You can only put up with being treated like you are subhuman for so long before you are just done. You quit, and that is what men are doing en masse.
Statistics show that 48 to 59% of single men between the ages of 18 and 40 have never asked a woman out on a date in the past year.
So I actually want to start out this video with an apology from me to my audience, because there is something that I have consistently gotten wrong over the years. I feel shitty about it, and I want to admit to you guys when I make a mistake, own up to it, say that I'm sorry, and I really mean this. I have rationalized and excused women's rudeness when men approach them for far too long. I focused on the man, I focused on game, and how men can overcome that resistance instead of analyzing that resistance itself and holding women accountable. Let me explain to you why I made this mistake. Understand, I came of age in the 2000s, and so I have never known what it's like to live in a culture where women do show respect for men. Whenever I saw a man approach a woman to try and talk with her, I routinely saw women laugh, ignore him, insult him, or just spend the interaction being rude to the man as a way of shit testing him. I thought that that was normal. I didn't really understand how truly fucked up that behavior was because it's all I had grown up seeing.
Let me stop right here. So in a recent situation, I had what you would consider a cold approach, although I say I don't use it as a strategy. There was a situation where I bumped into a woman, and it was somewhat of a cold approach, and she was a fine flatback. All right, she was a fine flatback. Like she was a knockout type of girl. Let me tell you, man, she was cool as hell. She was cool, but there was no romantic interest. She was just cool. Now, I typically don't cold approach like that, but that wasn't a cold approach. We were just happened to be moving in the same area, and I stopped and talked to her. All right, she was cool. Most men don't deal with that. Most men don't deal with that. They don't get that type of interaction. And even in a sense, she was like, oh, there's no romantic interest at all. All right. But there was another interest where there was somewhat of and then it ended up being a phone number. But I don't use it as a strategy, meaning that I don't go out of my way to do it. And I don't usually do it in big numbers because most of the time you're going to waste your time. For instance, when you use this idea of this is what I'm going to do to overcome the objection, what you're not acknowledging is the poor behavior of the woman. So nobody talks about defense. They talk about offense. I was the defensive coordinator. right? I'm the defensive coordinator. And I look at how women are acting in today's world, resting bitch face, somewhat uninterested, or even if they're talking or smiling, there's no romantic interest. So I'm looking at the disrespectful behavior of women. They're completely disrespectful. They don't, but they're also saying, like, here's a level of disrespect. You're walking, she's walking towards you, and she literally does her best. And women will say that this doesn't mean they're not interested, but she doesn't even acknowledge your presence. Some women get shy. Some women get a little bit uncomfortable. Some women have seen you, but they're just hoping, listen to me, they're hoping that you approach them with confidence, but they give you no indicators. So they want to be like, I want to be in my own world, and then you tap them on the shoulder. Oh, hi, honey, I notice you. That's what they want. And then they get the right to reject you, the right of first refusal. So give it a chance, shoot your shot. But they're not even giving you the decency of respect. And they're also saying they want men to approach. Me as a person that is a defensive coordinator, I don't like that. That is not the way to do it. That is a sign of disrespect. Why? Because I've said this before. Women are not coached to properly anticipate cold approaches, or they're not coached to properly dispose of an approach that they don't want, especially black women, right? So black women, ghetto women, women like this, they often deal with it disrespectfully. Okay, especially when you're in the trenches, especially when you're young. They often deal with it, put off, you're thirsty, who do you think you are, to give you the third degree, or outright, downright ignore you. You're talking to them, and they're with a friend. You say, excuse me, and they will look at each other and keep walking. See, this is why I'm saying don't cold approach, because you're disrespecting yourself in the process. You're not learning to talk to women. How do you downright disrespect another person like that when they took the initiative to say hi? I don't care if you thought he cold approached 50 women. I don't care if you thought he was thirsty. That's the reason why I think when you overcome objections, you're chasing. And it puts you in the negative. It doesn't make you overcome to know her. It literally puts you in the negative. And this is what he's talking about. He's like, okay, I taught you how to overcome objections, but that's overcoming objections of a woman that's knowing how to play the game, if you will. That's giving you a fair shake. Today's women aren't giving you a fair shake. They're literally disrespecting you like you just knocked on their door and bothered them, like they didn't expect anybody to approach them. And they completely ignored you like, oh, no. And they're like, why don't men approach? Nobody's going to approach you when you're giving signs of disrespect and ignoring. Like, I'm here right in front of you. We're waiting for our drink at Starbucks. Bitch like this. And then she'll go on the internet and say no men approach them. Not even a common courtesy, not even an eye. I'm standing right here. You see me look towards you. They don't want to look at you in the face. Maybe because they're shy. Maybe because they are not interested. Maybe because they want you to enter into their world and realm. But for me, because the women are not given any tools in the cold approach, then it's not a fair game. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're telling men what to do on the offense. They should be told, there should be a level field of how we deal with approaching strangers. I mean, there's enough of us doing it and enough of us willing to do it. There's enough of us single. I should hear women coaching women on how to anticipate an approach, how to properly dispose of an approach, how to, don't waste your time respectfully, how to do it but I don't see that. I don't see enough of that. All I see is men going on the attack and then developing these skills to overcome something. And the woman completely is out here just feral. But you're here with trained this and that. And you got to understand, but all women are different. Not all of them are the same. This is why I tell you, a little give and take. It should be a little give and take where the woman, like previously, women would drop their books. They would wait at the door, right? They would acknowledge you. You would tip your hat. They will wink. You know, there's a lot of things that people can do. She drop her napkin. She roll her pencil off the desk. These are all things that people have done previously to acknowledge interest. So just to make sure, okay, I didn't do anything. I don't know why you're interested. Wedding rings, engagements, these were all things that we agreed to do in a world that made it a fair game. Today, these bitches can record you, call you thirsty, downright disrespect you, ignore you, snap out at you. I'm tired. It's the 9th nigga today. Right? You open the door, they whoosh in and don't say shit to you. Then you think, I better shoot my shot. And then you walk up to her after one sign of disrespect and get another one. You see what I mean? Like, this is why I say, and this is what he's saying, is that, guys, he was not acknowledging the woman's shitty behavior in this. To where men said, you know what? I'm not going to approach anyone. You know, you an incel and you ain't just got no game. Well, that's not the case. I'm pretty charming. I'm charismatic. I'm a gentleman. And I get a lot of this type of behavior. Like, this is what I get normally. And I've heard women when I tell other women this, they be like, oh, she was interested in you. Again, this is not fair, but this is what I get. I get the look around, all right? The look around, the look through me, the walk past me, act like I ain't there. Where I'm walking on this side, she just like this. Bitch just looking over there. It doesn't matter the age or anything. Most of the time, the bitch is just completely ignoring me. Right? Now, in that case, anybody, if you cold approach a woman ignoring you in your personal space, in a small space, that's not a cold approach. Now, some women are like, she's intimidated by you. She really was interested in you. And then they got you out here getting crushed, right? Running your game against a person that's completely ignoring you, because women ignore men they're interested in. Right? So they say that's a choosing signal. So when you choose, you get that as a choosing signal and you tap her on the shoulder. Oh, I got a boyfriend. Again, what I'm saying is they're not playing the game fairly for you to play it. Guys that believe that's a choosing signal will end up getting rejected. Hold on for a second. Just so you're going to get rejected 295 times on that alone. Not only that, you're going to get a sexual harassment, sexual assault. Because the woman's like, I didn't say I liked him. He just came up to me in the middle of the day. Ninjas approaching women at night, tapping them on the shoulder. This is what he's talking about. He's like, these women are not playing any game. They're literally doing what they want in the wild, and you're supposed to just figure it out. This is not good overall, and this is making men drop out. So what do you do now? You go to your dating coach. Coach, what if she walks past me and completely ignores me? Well, she could like you, or she could be avoiding you. Okay, here we go.
Like a fish doesn't really know what water is because he's spent his entire life just swimming in it. I thought that shit tests and rude behavior were normal, and that it was perfectly natural for women to treat men badly, to say rude things to him just to test him out to see if he's confident enough to push through that resistance. In fact, one of the first videos that I ever released on this channel back in 2017 was me at the beach going up to women and asking them about this phenomenon of shit tests.
Have you ever given a man a shit test before?
Probably. Every time. I think I give men shit tests every day of my life.
Yeah, and so this is, again, this is a reality. So all of those choosing signals are also shit tests. All right, let me see if he gonna approach me. All right, he didn't approach me, fuck him. All right, oh, he did approach me. Well, you know, shit test. More and more. And then what our dating coaches say? Overcome objection, overcome objection, overcome objection. And she playing the game with you. Right here. She just playing the game. She ain't got nothing better to do. Let me fuck with this guy. You know how many objections you're going to have? Then you finally get the number. Hopefully she returns the call or the text. Oh, he didn't text. He didn't call me. He texted me. Nah. Like what? Or you call, she wait 3 days to return the call. Oh, I've been busy. You know why you get that is because you approach and pedestalize her. And she like, fuck it, he'll play a game. Let me play a game with this guy. This is why I say game ain't for grown men. Because now she's going to play a game with you. Oh, he wants to play the fun little game. It's kind of like when you have a dog or a kid and the kid ain't yours and the dog ain't yours and you holding a ball and the kid's like, throw it, throw it. The dog's like, throw it, throw it. They just want to play a game. So you cold approach them. Now you're going to play a fucking game with her. Who's going to call? How many times going to call? Who's going to double text? Who's going to do this? Is the number real? Is the number fake? Right here. So they're acknowledging, oh, okay. You want to talk to me? Let's play. Shall we play a game?
See, I knew that this was real. I saw how rude women were when I was younger, but I never stopped to ask the big questions like, is it okay to treat men like this? Why do women feel so entitled to be so righteously rude and dismissive? I was young, I was horny, and my mind just didn't think in terms of those big questions yet. I wasn't philosophical, I was just practical. Women are rude when you try and talk to them. Okay, that seems to be just a fact of reality. My only thought was, well, how do I overcome that? Like, if this is a game, what do I need to do to win? I was very ambitious, and when I discovered the seduction community with like pickup artist techniques, learning about game with detailed instructions on how to pass shit tests, frame control,
This is all nerd game, by the way. This is all nerd game. All right, just to tell you, most of the guys saying this shit is nerds. All right, 9 times out of 10 is a fucking nerd. All right, so just so you guys know, only nerds sit around describing definitions and writing shit like this and talking about bonobos. This is all nerd shit. And I can tell you, 10 times out of 10, none of these dudes practice what they preach. All right, none, zero. None of these ninjas practice what they preach. All right, so most of these ninjas in relationships and marriages. All right, telling your ass to go out there and get rejected by 300 people. All right, just so you know.
teasing, flirting. I thought, great, okay, that's what you do. So I learned it, I applied it, I got very good at it, and my dating life took off. But I can see now that that's actually been my blind spot, and that's the reason why I'm apologizing. Because I couldn't see past my own experience. My focus had been exclusively on how to pass shit tests. My focus was not on whether or not this behavior from women was actually appropriate. Now, longtime subscribers of this channel know.
Bruh, I said that a long time ago. I said, you know what dudes are being trained to do by dating coaches? I said, they're trained to handle abuse from women. I said this a long time ago with these nerdy ass dread game and masculine frame. I'm like, they're trained, men are being trained to handle abuse from women. And this guy is finally catching on to it. And I'm like, you guys are literally acknowledging that women are abusive as fuck, right? And we supposed to overcome it with some masculine frame and dread game. We supposed to do all this bullshit where the bitch can act completely out of pocket, act goofy, right? And a lot of these guys know because you argue with these same women. All right, be like that then, bitch. And you know, you gonna do calling them names and attack. You're learning how to deal with abuse from women. This is exactly what he arrived at. And I arrived at that conclusion 4 years ago. I said that 4 years ago and nobody wanted to listen. So we supposed to get shit tested and abused and play like a fiddle and playing her game and then overcoming objections and dealing with a funky ass attitude and telling she gonna come over, then she cancels. This is abuse. Because if we did it to women, they'd be out here crying, right? About how these men doing them shitty. Yelling at you, screaming, arguing back, and you got to learn how to keep your frame. You got to learn how to keep your frame. That's called abuse. You're accepting abuse. And I've been saying that, and now it took him years to figure that out, that these women be having shitty attitudes and playing games with you, and you trying to figure out how to overcome abuse. All right, oh no.
that this issue has come up lots of times before, probably in 4 or 5 different videos. You guys have roasted me in the comment section, which I deserved, but even getting that feedback, I couldn't see it. I didn't understand why men were frustrated with me. Like, I was sincerely trying to help. I was explaining the psychology of why women are rude to men, the evolutionary basis, what purpose they're serving, what they're looking for in men. And then I was giving instructions on how to successfully move past that rudeness. But then there'd be a bunch of guys in the comments saying, why should I have to put up with this in the first place?
Facts.
Why is it okay for women to be rude to me?
Let me tell you, man, at the JUCO, there's none of this because money talks, bullshit walks. I don't deal with any of this. All right. You go to the next level of this, you master it. I don't deal with any of this. I don't have to deal with cold approaching. I don't have to deal with games. I say show up, they show up. If they don't show up, they done. Okay? I don't deal with double texting and hey, you busy and what you doing. I don't deal with any of that. No text game. Anybody that knows on locals, it's right to the fact. You seen, I showed you yesterday's Sunday's locals. Right to the fact. It was message, peace, leave, getting partied. Right? Just like that. Now, ninjas be like, well, I ain't paying. I refuse to pay. Well, go ahead and deal with this. This is your choice. You're going to deal with this or you're going to go over there. All right? We're not going to get it. Everything's business. I'm not out here for fun and games and pleasure. I'm a grown-ass man. I get right into it. Let's conduct business. Business right off the top. All right, let's go. This is the deal. This is the date. This is what we're wearing. This is where we're going. If she says, oh, I don't know. Okay, next. Right here. Next. All right, we ain't got no time to play, man. We grown out here. Okay, but I'm not, men aren't punching bags where we supposed to just be standing in there and taking jabs and punches and uppercuts to try to get a piece of pussy. Talking about you not paying. All right, so, there's a way to do it. People don't say I have solutions. I'm giving you mad solutions here. But, dude, men that put up with this, I'm like, you're paying. You're paying big. This is a humiliation ritual right here. Let's let them continue to cook here.
But I just kept focusing on the practical. And sadly, all of my explanations for female behavior, it just sounded like justifications, excuses for women's disrespect.
Facts.
All of my advice on how to overcome this, it had the effect of making men feel like I was just ignoring how outright unpleasant this is to deal with. Placing the responsibility on men once again to do the work. Doesn't matter how rude women are,
Facts.
how ridiculous their standards, how entitled their personalities. Men, it's on you to find a way, to suck it up, to figure it out.
Be a man.
Guys, can you ask us out in person? No more DMs, none of that. Girls love to get asked out in person. It doesn't happen anymore. Please come up to us. We're nice.
Yeah, this is, dude, do not fall for this. See, they're doing that now because they have an abundance of ninjas and thirsty ninjas in the DMs, and what they're not telling you is they still fucking the DMs. They're also not telling you that the DMs and the dating apps, they have a what do they call it here? They have a paradox of choice. Meaning that it's not that they're not getting good men in the DMs and on the dating apps. They are just frustrated with the choice. Meaning that they get on a dating app and they get 1,200 matches in a week. They freeze and paralyze. So they're like, let's make this easy. Just walk up to me. And good and damn well, the wrong person is going to hear that, walk up to that muskrat and get shot the fuck down. You already know. So the wrong person is going to hear it. You're going to walk up and she's like, oh, that's cute. All right. Don't fall for, dude, I'm just telling you, don't fall for this. This is just them pivoting back to try to gain control where they lost it. They lost control of Chad on the dating apps, so now they trying to get Chad out in the free air. Go outside. Just walk up to us. Approach us. We're nice. Nice is nice, all right? But that don't mean I'm getting laid.
The worst we're going to say is no.
The worst we're going to say is no.
Later. Like, a lot of world problems would be solved if men just,
cease to exist?
yeah.
I know that some of my past videos on this topic have really pissed off some guys. All I can say is that I was sincere, and I'm sorry, I did not see it. That's how it is with bias and with blind spots. You don't know what you don't know. But let me tell you now that I can see it. I see it very clearly. This dating market is fucked up. At its core, the whole thing is fucked. We have allowed our culture to degenerate to the point where women feel like it is okay to treat men with disrespect, to be rude, to be insulting. A kind, polite man says hello to you, he's being friendly. It's fine to just ignore him or just be bitchy for the entire conversation. No manners.
I'm telling you, that is the big one. I mean, that's the big one that most men face, where she just ignores you like you ain't shit. Like, now, again, I don't experience that much because I can read the signs from the rip. I ain't about to get disrespected out in public. All right. But they just be like, and then it's worse if you get a ghetto drag queen and she be like, nigga, who are you? Like, come on, you bothering me. Can't you see I'm at work? And what the fuck? And what kind of shoes you got on? But then they'll be like, why don't men approach? All right. It's a very, very bad situation where I think this is my solution. The women need training on receiving approaches as much as men need training on doing approaches. That would be a fair game. That would be a fair game. Other than that, no, that ain't a fair game, right? That ain't a fair game. A woman will be walking around here single, titties out, pussy knuckle out, and then we'll call you thirsty and, oh, you're nasty, you're a creep, disgusting. And that's not me. That's just a normal, regular guy. And then or ignore you, disrespectful, shoot you. And it's like, man, what are we doing? This is not the proper way to do it. Where then the only solution is to tell men 95% chance you're going to get shot down. Let me show you this video.